Normally we see that after the investigations are over and a report is formed, it's released into media, it's all over the media, and common people feel that the perpetrators will be brought to justice. But we don't see that happening most of the time. What happens after the reports are released?
Well, we certainly don't give up at OHCHR. We continue to raise these issues with the responsible authorities, and we have also been raising them at the international level, for example, in the Human Rights Council, which we discussed earlier, and where the High Commissioner makes an annual report. But ultimately, it's the responsibility of the government authorities to follow up on those cases and to bring about justice. We do notice that when these commissions are established, and there are several commissions, that we do not see the reports of those commissions. They are not released to the public, and also we don't see the follow-up to the recommendations of those commissions. And I have to say that the follow-up to the recommendations of OHCHR also leaves something to be desired.
At a stage of post-conflict and democracy restored, surprisingly we have seen several incidents to curb press freedom. During the last 3 years, the journalists have received threats, have been abducted and have been killed. It's been the highest ever compared to before. How can journalists seek support from your office in this regard?
Well, Santosh, you're quite right that, of course, press freedom and freedom of expression generally is essential for any society to function well. In Nepal, the situation is a little different from some other countries that we see. What human rights workers are concerned about in many countries is that the government curbs press freedoms. But we see very little of that here. In fact, the laws and the general environment for press freedom is good. However, what we are seeing is threats and violence against journalists committed by political groups and criminal groups. And therefore, the responsibility comes again on the state to protect journalists from this kind of intimidation and violence. And if it occurs, to bring the culprits to justice and to bring out the truth. From our office, we have been conducting different workshops with groups of journalists. We chose to conduct most of these workshops in the Terai, actually, because it was the most insecure part of the country. There are also networks to support human rights defenders, such as the EU Human Rights Defender Network, which we are working with. And that includes providing support for journalists to increase their security, and if they are threatened, to provide some protection for them.
Nepal is in its historic time of writing its new constitution, and the government has extended the mandate of OHCHR for 1 more year. In what ways will you put efforts to ensure that the essentials of human rights are included?
Our office has been assisting different committees, but especially the Committee on Fundamental Rights of the CA, at their request, by facilitating workshops and providing information and providing exposure to different experts. So the responsibility to draft a constitution which includes very strong human rights provisions is that of the CA, but we have been assisting, and we are ready to assist throughout the process.
In cases of human rights violations and abuses anywhere in the world, it's the children who are the ultimate victims. How can OHCHR and the member states of the United Nations be more responsible and sensitive towards the future of the world?
Well, I think that's a very profound question, and Santosh, you're absolutely right that the future of the world lies in the hands of our children and young people. and what sort of world are we leaving for those next generations to take over. I think to go back to the beginning of our discussion, which was about dignity and equality, I think that we must always bear in mind that every child needs to have an equal opportunity to live a fulfilling life along with every other child and every other person. And if a child has no education, not a proper roof over his or her head, poor nutrition, and maybe poor health, that's a bad start to life. And so I think we all need, using a human rights framework, to do more to ensure that the rights of children and young people are upheld, beginning with true respect for their dignity and equality and their rights to get a reasonable start in life. If we work together to do that, I think that the entire world can have a better future.
Let us hope that someday we have a world where individuals are able to live with dignity and are able to receive justice at need. With this hope, I wish you good luck and goodbye. See you next week, the same time. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you very much. My pleasure, sir.
And we have a small gift. It's a culture of our show and the culture of Nepal.
Yes.
It's a lion, a typical design from Patan. And we've seen it in Bhaktapur and Kathmandu as well.
Yes, I've seen it many times, but I don't have one, so it's great. Thank you very, very much indeed for that gift. I'll really treasure it, and we will keep it in a special place in our house.